Okay, so we're going to look at a sample here. This is taken from IB's resources, and we're looking at a research paper in which the student examined to what extent did World War II lead to women in the United States becoming permanent participants of the labor force. So, right, you can look through the other stuff here if you want to look at the paper in those sections, but we'll do that on your own time. What we're focused on is Criterion C, the third section of the paper. And again, the student had 4 out of 4 marks. And the moderator from IB said, this is very much a personal reflection, but it does highlight the methods of historians and the challenges and limitations which they face. It is clearly and explicitly linked to the investigation. So even though the moderator thought maybe this person spent a little too much time reflecting on themselves rather than reflecting on what historians do, this person still did hit all the things they had to hit, and they were given the full 4 marks on this. So here is the document. And if we scroll down here, section 3, the reflection, notice this person's reflection is a little bit longer. Yours probably are going to come out to more like a page and a half. I mean, it's a little over that. It's not super long. Let's take a look at what this person did. And again, we're going to constantly go back to our rubric and consider, all right, how is this person hitting these things? So this investigation has allowed, there's a typo here, should be me, to gain an insight into some of the methods used by historians, as well as to the challenges that historians face when carrying out historical investigations. Right, this person writes a topic sentence for this section to help focus his or her writing on what what you're being graded on. Right, they talk about methods used by the historians and challenges the historians face. So that might be something you want to start out with, as a similar sentence structure for that first sentence to help guide your writing into ensuring that you're going to hit on the things that you're being graded on. I feel I've developed a skill that is fundamental in the study of history, that of carefully analyzing sources, often presenting different points of view on the same subject to reach a justified conclusion. In order to carry out the investigation, I read books by renowned historians on the subject, analyzed statistical evidence, read government documents and public addresses, etc., all of which are methods used by historians. All right, so this person is talking about all the stuff that he or she did and then bringing this back around to the methodology. So learning about what historians do. Now they want to see some more specific examples of this, and this is what this next paragraph is going to have. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we'll just kind of pull up some highlights here. When comparing evidence provided by different types of sources, so he or she is talking about the challenge of comparing the evidence together. And then if you scroll down further, the student talks about the specific sources they were looking at and the issues that come with that. So now we have, here's methodology, here's the examples of where that student learned that. So now we're going to get into challenges. Found it difficult to reach a conclusion. Continued the investigation and began to understand the work of the historian better. And this student goes on to talk about how there is no absolute truth in history, and that is a challenge to deal with. And if you scroll down and read this further, they give a detail and again examples from their work. For example, et cetera, et cetera. So talking about, again, challenges and then tying it with examples from the work. So this is definitely a 4 out of 4. Hit all the boxes very clearly. And that is the kind of thing that you guys are going to want to emulate on your section 3 reflection. So again, like section 1, there's no points here for fancy writing. I highly advise using key phrases, key words to guide you towards the rubric. Use things like the challenge facing historians is blank, and I learned this because blank, right? Do things that use those keywords from the rubric in your writing to ensure that you're writing to it and the person who grades your paper understands what you're trying to get across in relation to the rubric.